Rudy's London, authentic Jamaican restaurant, right here in your backyard. Find us at 50 Stoke Newington Road, NW16 5XB. For reservations, visit www.rudyslondon.com. It's on 0207 249 9930. Rudy's London.
We feel better having you around the party.
Very good afternoon and welcome once again to live and continuous track and field coverage on StrideVisionTv. My name is Roger Haspel along with Neo Oxford, and we'll be providing afternoon coverage for you of the J3A qualification series right here at the National Stadium. And we will resume competition on the track with the boys class 1 4x100 meters.
Thanks, Roger. In lane 2, it's Bustamante High. In lane 4, Excelsior High. In lane 6, Mona High. In lane 8, St. Catherine High. That's the lineups for this race, Roger. They are on their marks, awaiting the starter in set position. And there is a gun, and out of the blocks very quickly seems to be lane 4 from Excelsior. Mona is also there, but Excelsior is making up ground. They will make the exchange first. In the second was St. Catherine, but it's all about Excelsior on the backstretch. Excelsior High, that looks to be Royal Campbell. Excelsior still in first. St. Catherine High, they're in second. It's an Excelsior St. Catherine battle into the final exchanges. Into the last 100 meters we go. Excelsior, they change first yet again, and they will be followed by St. Catherine. All about Excelsior. Excelsior seems to have this one covered quite easily. St. Catherine in second. Mona is in third, and coming in behind is Mona High. So Excelsior, 41.66 is the flash time for the team from Mountain View. Roger, a good run for them?
Yes, good afternoon stroll there for Excelsior. I would say this was a decent run, and I'm certain the coaching staff, although they might find one or two glitches, I think this was a very good run by Excelsior. 41.67, the official time. St. Catherine, the anchor leg runner, he was quite busy as well. He closed a couple meters on the anchor man for Excelsior, but he had it under control nonetheless. And 41.67 under the circumstances at this stage, I would think that is a pretty decent outing for Excelsior.
Yes, indeed, Roger. I remember last week you were saying that many are not looking at the times, that it is the cobwebs we are trying to brush off. But second week in, Excelsior seems to have some ground already made up on their competition.
I remember Excelsior, they have been rebuilding their track program, both boys and girls, headed by David Riley down there, who would have won championships with a very small side in 2010 at Woolmer. So he knows how to put athletes 1 and 2 together to get points and quality out there as well. So let's see how Excelsior will progress. So
We
it's the second section of the 4x100 meters class 1 boys.
only two teams showing up for the second section, Roger. In lane 2 from St. Elizabeth, it's St. Elizabeth Technical. And in lane 4, it is from Monk Street, St. Jago High. Both teams wearing yellow. The difference is the blue of Stets and the green of St. Jago.
All right, so yeah, Marlon Gale, let's see how he will respond with St. Jago in this event. In traditionally, St. Jago, it can be known as a good 4x100 meters team on the boys' side over the years. And we expect that a decent run should happen from the Marlon Gale coach, St. Jago, this afternoon.
St. Jago, Roger, that school that always seems to be competing in everything. If it's cricket, football, track and field, even school challenge quiz. So they do have a good tradition over there at Monk Street.
Yeah, man, a top sport academic school. Can't take that away from them at all. You know, they are, well, we see Excelsior coming back into the fray. They have taken over where Excelsior had left, but Excelsior is coming back where that is concerned.
They are on their marks, lane 2 and lane 4. Stetson 2, St. Jago in 4, set position, and there is the start. It's all about St. Jago. They seem to have gotten the more comfortable start. They should exchange first. Very close indeed between Stetson and St. Jago on the backstretch now. St. Jago seems to have the lead. We'll look at the stagger and see. Yes, St. Jago, they change first. Very close indeed. It's Stetson, St. Jago, but Jago have the edge at the moment as we come around the final bend, looking to make the final changeover. Here is St. Jago and Stets. They almost change at the exact time. And Stets takes the lead. And here comes St. Jago. They're trying to hold on. Yes, he comes past his competitor. It's all about St. Jago. 41:34 is the flash time. Roger, St. Jago had to work hard for it, Roger.
Yes, that's a good run by St. Jago. And I think Stets, they can have a decent team based on that run. You know, they do also have a good program down there. And we expect that Stets could be in the thick of things where that is concerned. But 41.33, the winning time, the official time for St. Jago. And 41.33, 41.67 for Stets, St. Elizabeth Technical. And that's, well, St. Jago ran 41.33, and Stets running the same time that was accredited to Excelsior in the previous heat. So there is the run. St. Jago had things pretty much covered throughout the course of the race until maybe the final exchange. Let's see what happened, because the third leg man for Stets really brought them back in the race, and they were just ahead coming into in fact, maybe a meter lead on the anchorman from St. Jago. But here he came through and just switched on or shifted into another gear, and he delivered in the end for St. Jago. 41.34 the winning time. So another decent outing.
Well, Roger, I understand that Bert Cameron is now at St. Jago.
His alma mater.
And Devon Hira. So the coaching really showed it in that final exchange. They had to dig deep, and somehow they were able to get past Stets. So that's it for the Class 1 4x1. Roger, two good races, you might say?
Yes, two decent races. I mean, they'll see where they are. Need to know, well, certainly these schools will know what to do next and so on. And they'll take it from there where that is concerned, heading into the deeper portion of the season, especially where relay running is concerned. So St. Jago clocking 41.34, which is a very decent time under the circumstances.
Yes, indeed. So that's the end of the Class 1 boys 4x100 meters. We await the start of the Class 2 boys 4x100 meters. In that, there's two sections. In section 1, we expect to see Wolmer's High School for boys, Herbert Morrison Technical, St. Jago, and Bustamante High.
Right, so Track and field action resuming in the afternoon session here. And we'll have a number of events to come. And today, earlier this morning, we had the 200 meters for girls. We'll be having the boys 200 meters a little later on. And then we head into the 4x400 meters relays to close our track and field action here this afternoon. All right, so afternoon, lovely afternoon for track and field action, although we know it's quite hot down there now at this time of the day. We'll be getting hotter throughout the course of the upcoming months.
Well, there is a cool breeze passing through the National Stadium. Every now and then you can feel it. You look on the flagpoles, there are some ribbons tied that you can see exactly the direction of the breeze blowing from the Mountain View side towards the... Which direction would you call that?
Well, based on the fluttering of the feathers here, the banner feathers, it appears that is moving in another northerly, easterly, anotherly, southerly direction. Yeah. North, south. No, but no. Based on where, all right, let us look down by the. It is moving from it's a south to north wind because it is circulating here in the stand. That's why it apparently is circulating around. But look at the flag. Look at the
What we say, Roger, is blowing from the Mountain View side towards
right
the
from
Hope Road side.
right. So it's coming from a southeast direction, coming across. Right. Yeah. It is circulating here in the stand. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Mm. Mm. So we might have a different sense of direction where we are, but it's because of the circular shape of the stand. All right. So, but we're talking about us here enjoying the benefits of the wind. When you're down on that stadium track, you talk like how we are talking now, especially if you're out there in the sun.
That is true, especially the heat coming from the ground into those light spikes. It can be a bit tedious on the athletes, but I think this is what, class 2, so this should be something that they're used to some extent, Roger.
Yes, indeed. Of course, trading and then delivering. Because typically at this time the track season would have been on in earnest. Nonetheless, I mean, with a number of development meets and so on, I think maybe you'd have had a couple of trials already in terms of Western and Eastern and Central and so on. And yes,
I think we would have had the Gibson relays already.
yes, Gibson Relays had to miss out again this year because of the whole circumstances.
A team that's always lovely to see during the Gibson relays is Woolmer's High School for Boys. They are in lane 2 of the 4x100 meter class 2. So Woolmer's in lane 2. In lane 4, it's Herbert Morrison. In lane 6, it's St. Jago. And in lane 8, it's Bustamante High, Roger.
So it appears that Bustamante High, they have been building a track program. Quite a few of their athletes turning out since morning. And of course, within that Clarendon belt, the Veer Technical along that stretch, going up to the top part of Clarendon, that stretch, that belt, is really has been producing some good track and field athletes over the past couple of years, and Bustamante appears to be one that is doing some work where that is concerned now.
And it's good to see them in the purple and white also.
Do you know that Knox College can also be termed as KC? Knox College is also KC, you know. The most famous of the two. Anyway, KC girl. All right, so we are getting ready for this Class 2 boys 4x1. Woolmers, Herbert Morrison, St. Jago, Bustamante. They're in a set position and they're off. It's a level break, so the ones to watch, as we say, St. Jago and Woolmers boys. Woolmers apparently struggling at the moment, and St. Jago dominant. On the back straight they go. Herbert Morrison tries to close, but the Woolmers athlete is getting very busy also on the back straight. And where is St. Jago? They have dropped out. So Woolmers takes command. St. Jago, poor baton exchanges, they are out. And there comes Woolmer's boys on the inside now after struggling at the start. But Herbert Morrison, they have taken charge and have taken over and is quite dominant, pulling away. 43.37 the flash time. And Woolmer's for second. Disaster for St. Jago.
St. Jago dropping the baton at the first exchange. I know Coach Bert Cameron might not be pleased about that, especially with the win in the last race, Roger. But it's good that, as you mentioned, again, I'll bring it up from last week, the cobwebs are coming off. That could have been one of those issues, and it's something that they'll have time now to work out, as the Boys and Girls Championships, if they are held, would have been pushed back a little bit, so they do have time to fix that.
Yes, indeed. And I am not one of those persons who try to add to the hysteria in terms of this whole coronavirus pandemic situation. Not one to do that. But we are just hoping and praying that we'll have a season for our junior athletes, champs to be a part of it. Because this is a year that up to now we haven't heard anything in terms of any cancellation for the World Under 20s. An event that Jamaica truly had a dominant performance the last time out over there in Finland. It was postponed last year, pushed back to this year. I'm not hearing any further postponement, so that is still on. So our athletes need to test each other, compete against it, push each other. And we're just hoping that the COVID numbers that we're hearing will not affect track meets, and especially champs and others beyond that.
Well, the greatest part about it is that even with new protocols that came out last week, we are here again at the National Stadium. So we just have to remain hopeful, hoping that come next week again, we'll be back here yet again. And just to see, even despite numbers going up, that the performances do go up also, as our down, because it's times, we're hoping for the times to go down, but it is a return back to track. And despite the COVID-19 and despite all new issues happening, we are still here, Roger.
Yes, and that's the most important thing as we speak, as of now, that we are having action. So this will be 2 competitors only, or 3?
I see 2 competitors from lane 2. It's Excelsior, and from lane 4 seems to be St. Elizabeth Technical, Roger.
Yes, Mushet was scheduled, but they are not there. Pulling out, so it will be a 2-team competition.
Well, you did mention just a while ago about being competitive. Sometimes just having 2 in the race challenges you a bit more than having 8.
Yeah, because you know you don't want the next competitor to beat you, and also the challenge of the clock as well. You know, which no doubt when you have a situation like this, you no doubt would want to see what's the best you can do without much competition.
Well, we saw what happened to St. Jago. They were competing and dropped the baton.
Yes, after a dominant start, Woolmer struggled right at the start, and I mean, you know, St. Jago looks as if based on their start, they would have been comfortable winners. All right, so this is the second and final section, the boys class 2, 4x100 meters. It's Excelsior and the Stets. So they are off, and Stets has gotten off well. Excelsior now will try to close the gap. Let's see who makes the baton first. Stets makes it first, and after a delay change for Excelsior, they are trying to come back into this event, which is still dominated by Stets. And they now make a delay change, but allowing Excelsior to get back in the race based on this third leg runner. So this could be an interesting race, but Stets nonetheless still having that lead. The change is made inside the zone, and Stets now will hold their form and hold their step. And that will be completed, a mere formality in the end for Stets winning 42.10, Excelsior securing that runner-up spot.
Despite Stets winning that race, Roger, not sure if you saw what a beautiful change there was for Excelsior, the third leg. Fantastic change. It gave them hope despite Stets winning in 42.08 being the final time, Excelsior 43.27. But that change for me, from I've seen the relay since earlier this morning to now, has been the best change I've seen so far.
Yes, because it really brought them back into the race, and the third leg man really did some good work for the Excelsior team, but the man at anchor for Stets, he wasn't playing around, and he held on, he held his shape, and he held his step, he held his distance and his meter opening, and striding home comfortably in the end for the Santa Cruz-based team.
He bounced home a bit like a Safa Powell, Roger.
Yes, he was literally bouncing down to the tape. Right, so the next event will be the boys class 3, and it will only be a one section event, where Excelsior will compete from 2, Herbert Morrison 3, St. Jago 4, Woolmer's boys 5, St. Elizabeth Technical, that is, they are in 6, and Mona in 7. And so far, we have seen a few missing lanes, Neo.
Yes, lane 1 is empty, lane 2 is empty.
That should have been Excelsior.
And I think lane 3 is also empty, so it's
Which
4,
should
5,
be
6, and
Herbert
8.
Morrison. So no Excelsior, no Herbert Morrison.
But I do know St. Jago is there, Wilmers is there, Stets is there, and out in lane 8, it's Mona, Roger?
Yes, Mona. So the ones to watch based on their tradition would be in this event, St. Jago, Woolmers, and Stets. Stets, over the years, they have built up a good Class 2 program and a Class 3 program as well over the past couple of years. So let's see how their relay runners look at this stage of the season.
I'm sitting here, Roger, really not used to coming to a track meet and looking around the stadium and seeing empty seats all around. I just sat down and closed my eyes for a bit and could hear the drums beating from the KC section here, looking over across to the bleachers and seeing the Calabar flag waving in the middle of the bleachers, and looking around to gate 5 where you would see the sea of blue for Jamaica College, and those are just spectacles that we miss at this point in time.
Yes, but as in Border Cat's voice, not this year. Not this year, not this year.
While we await the start, St. Jago, Woolmer, Stets, and on the outside is Mona. For St. Jago, on the cards is starting with Dante Campbell, Jaden Denton, Michael Dwyer, and Akeem Richards. So Roger mentioned they are the ones to watch. Woolmer's is right beside them. They are on their marks for Woolmer's. Gray Card, Ainsley McGregor, Rohan Renford, and Edward Sterling. Will it be from Monk Street or will it be from Heroes Circle? Set position. There is the gun from the starter, and they are off. It looks to be Stets, though. Stets getting the better of starts out there in lane 6. Who will change first? Yes, all Stets from the first change. Jago and Wilma's coming after. Mona had the second best change, but Roger, it's all about St. Elizabeth Technical. He made up so much ground on that back stretch there. Change first again, but here comes Jago along the line now. But Stets seems to have this one wrapped up despite having just around 120 meters to go. Here is Stets again on the final exchange. Stets first, Mona second, and St. Jago third, and Stets will breeze away with this one. The battle really is for second between St. Jago and Mona. Stets win it 44.52. St. Jago second and Mona in third.
Yes, so as we said at the start, the St. Elizabeth Juggernaut have been building over the past couple of years in their Class 3, and I'm not surprised of that impressive performance based on how they have been building their program, building a good Class 3, Class 2 program over the years, especially in relay running. And that was not a surprising performance at all from the team from Santa Cruz.
46.80.
44.50, the official time for St. Elizabeth Technical.
So that's it for the relays, Roger. Our next event on track seems to be the boys' open steeplechase.
Yes, so that's going to be coming up on the track. And then after that, there will be the 200 meters for the boys.
Since I've been here from this morning, that's all you've been speaking about, Roger. I think you're the 200 meters. Very excited for that is Roger Haspel. But we have a little wait before that because the steeplechase should take the track next. We have athletes from Kingston College, Jamaica College, Calabar, St. Jago, and Mushet High. So that will be a good run out for these gentlemen. The steeplechase, a race that I always had so much admiration for the runners.
Yes, and back in my days at high school, when these distant races come around, you know, you're not gonna look for the traditional names, the KCs, the JCs, the Calabar. But in the last decade or so, they have invested heavily in these distance program, and they are now coming out on top in terms of these events. I mean, back in our days in high school, it's just most of the country school that you'd have heard winning these events. I mean, Stets are at the latter stage of St. Jago coming out to start the win, but there's always the country schools, the schools, non-traditional schools. But now we are seeing the KCs and the Calabars winning these events, and you know it's quite something else.
Points are there for the taking. That's what these traditional schools are saying. Boys and girls championships points there for the taking. So it's and then what you could be seeing, Roger, is that a lot of these country schools, the runners that would have ran in those steeplechases have been offered better opportunities to come across to the town schools to represent them. So not because they are from JC or KC or Calabar means that they are actually from JC, KC or Calabar. They could have initially had been practicing their trade out of town and have now found their way here, because the steeplechase for me was always one of those races and wondering what is the training regime for an athlete who does the steeplechase.
Well, I figure that at the early part of the season, it is the development meet would have been the training run for them, because you know, because not many schools have the barriers and the water jump, and the water jumps and so on. Maybe now that they are IAAF accredited tracks in Jamaica now, maybe the schools who have them, their athletes can train with that. But outside of that, the other schools that doesn't have the certified tracks, they'll have to just do normal training, and then when the development meet come around, then that's the time they use it as training runs.
I'm glad you mentioned IAAF certified tracks. Some lovely stadiums now in Jamaica. At some you see them at the college level overseas, but I talk about the Asheheim Stadium at JC. That's a beautiful surface, not just for track and field, but also for football. I know Kingston College, they have a lovely track there, and at Calabar, their track is one that many meets have already been held on. I wonder to myself, when will Keith Wellington implement a track at St. Elizabeth Technical? I know despite sometimes, at one point he had the best football field in schoolboy football. So
Yeah,
I'm really awaiting when I'll hear that Stets now has a track.
yeah, and not even schoolboy football, but national football too, because a number of the National Premier League teams back that side, Reno and so on, used Stets Field as their home ground. Yeah, so yeah, and Stets they do have the land, but maybe different priorities right now. Yeah, because Stets is one of those schools now is that is that multi school that they invest heavily in but in a wider the wider range of sports, because they have the boys and the girls to contend with, and they invest heavily in cricket. That's what that is what they win cricket almost every year.
That's true. They
Yeah.
are multi winners of the under 19, under 16, under 14 cricket competitions in rural Jamaica. They are multi winners of the Costa Cup and the Ben Francis Cup, and under 14 and under 16 in rural Jamaica.
And you speak about football in Santa Cruz. You know, you have people in Santa Cruz who believe that is a divine right for States to win every year. Yes, I know them.
Yeah, that is true, and you mentioned that, and I remembered when Keith Wellington about 3 years ago won Principal of the Year. They took all these things into factor. This one school, they performed in everything. It wasn't just track and field. They had cricket titles. They won. I think they had a couple points well at boys and girls championships.
And girls too.
It's amazing the work that Stets does.
Yes, indeed. And they're on the academic side. They are a good standard bearer down that side too as well. You know, and you know, I mean, you'd say now Stets, the Stets, the Stets, the St. Jagos, and the Excelsiors, they are now the cream of the crop, where the dual sex and the multiplicity of sporting events, and to go along with the academics, they are the cream of the crop as we speak.
Still awaiting the athletes for the steeplechase to show as the officials on the track get themselves ready for the steeplechase. Barriers placed on all corners of the track. Roger, we look again at the protocols adhered to today. Sanitization every single time there is a start at the blocks. Sanitization teams are on there immediately.
Yeah.
Using different machines that we saw last week. Last week we saw a vaporizer. This week we actually see the spray coming out. I just witnessed before the last race there was an official who sanitized the athletes' hands as they went on their mark. So still a good work being done by J3S.
Yes, and when I was at GC Foster College last week, where were the hurdles, after every race, each and every hurdle was sprayed and sanitized. You know, and you know, if that's just one of the requirements, so be it.
I found that strange because hurdle 6, 7, 8. Who touches that hurdle really?
Yes, but it was something else, you know, to see that after every race, you know, the sanitizing officers, you know, really coming out and spraying, and you know.
I still go to last week seeing them sanitize the sand. I have never seen that before, and it was just, it's good to see though that all precautions are being taken into place, but it was just surprising.
Yeah. So we are having a lull in proceedings now, because the next event to come will be the 2,000 meter steeplechase. We were speaking about it earlier. Not yet producing an athlete, even at the regional stage. The regional stage, they would have put out a dominant performance as yet. I know that as a country, we have been coming to the fore in some non-traditional events, especially in the field and so on. And maybe just a couple of years from now, maybe we'll be having a couple world contenders in the steeplechase. But but for now, the athletes are here, and a lot of them who do the steeplechase here, they also do other events. To make up for maybe the lack of opportunity that would be provided in this event.
I'm still wondering how could a coach convince me? How many laps is the steeplechase? 2,000 meters. How could a coach convince you to run that, Roger?
I remember that is just for the junior level because it's a 3,000 that is the established international level. So this is just like a training. You take a 1,000 meters. That's a lot, and you still would have a difficulty finding athletes to compete, but they are there, and the top schools specifically go out and find athletes who they feel can compete at this level.
So that's what, 5 laps around the track?
Right.
It doesn't seem that bad when you work it out to 5 laps, but it is it is still a lot. And they are sanitizing the hurdles for the steeplechase at the moment. I can see the sanitization crew out there, but there are no athletes out at the moment. So are we ahead of
Well,
time?
you would understand when they do this because some of the athletes actually step on them, but literally step on them. So you understand why they would do that. And it was used this morning for the girls as well. So the girls had their 2,000 meters. This is an event that